What is up, guys? Fadeaway82 coming at you with some Rust free cam raid footage. Riot, Tobias, and the YPB crew are staging for a raid on the US Rustopia server. They appear to be pretty well geared. As always, they are color coordinated, and they're about to head out for a raid. And they're moving out in formation, guys. They're heading towards their designated target. They're staging at the top of a mountain area here, setting up on overlook positions to be able to look down onto the base they're going to be raiding. They're building an embattlement here, some type of a staging area, which is getting shot out as it's turned to twig. They are reinforcing it with wood so that it's more permanent, and you can see that members are on the top of that mountain as well, doing overwatch. Inside the house, the raiders know something's up. One of them just dropped from a bullet. And this is what they're raiding, guys. They are raiding a tower at the bottom of this hill. So they have the tactical advantage by being up so high. So the raiders are moving in on the compound. Some of them are getting up over the wall, which looks like it's not fully finished. And they're getting into the inner courtyard. Gunfire is coming out of the home. So the defenders are firing back at the raiders. It's going to be an active raid. They are firing back at them from the second and third story windows. The bottom two layers appears to be reinforced with the armored tier, so it's going to take some C4 to get through that. The YPB crew is using pickaxes to breach the wall in that particular location. It did look like another member was able to jump over into the courtyard, but probably was not able to jump back out, which is why they're using the pickaxes to make that point of entry, and it'll also be a point of exit as well. And they continue to work at that while the other members provide overwatch on the top of the mountain. And inside, guys, we have some sleepers. So this clan is not fully awake. Hopefully they'll call their buddies to join the fight, because it looks like there's about 2 guys awake right now, and they're getting ape-shitted upon by this clan from above the mountain. And they're continuing to work on that wall. You can see that the color is changing. If you're not familiar with Rust, as the buildings degrade or get damaged, they do change. The raid tower is getting shot out. Nice move on the part of the homeowners, the defenders. Anytime you see a raid tower forming, guys, hit it as soon as you can while it's still twig before they turn into something else. Don't let them get the advantage of building up. So the raid tower looks like it's continuing to be constructed there. The homeowners are continuing to do their best with what resources they have, shooting out the windows, and continuing to take out that raid tower as it grows. Good move. We have a rocket incoming. It just hit the base pretty much dead on. You can tell, guys, that the rockets don't do a heck of a lot of damage, but they are pretty awesome nonetheless. Looks like more gunfires raining into that inner base area. Another rocket hit that area as well, so the colors changed more. So oftentimes, guys, what the raiders are going to do is they're going to soften up the base with those rockets. So the rockets, another one's incoming, and another. And there we go with another rocket. That one looks like it took out the wall. So now they have a point of view right into the inner part of that base. They are raining fire in on the defenders, who are actually holed up in the base at this point. Another rocket incoming. That one didn't quite make it inside. The rockets, guys, are really hard to aim, so they're landing in the general area, but they're probably not going exactly where they want it in terms of placement. The homeowners are holed up in a stairwell here. Due to the rocket blast, they are pretty much confined to this area for cover. They're taking gunfire. It looks like some of the sleepers did wake up. I saw another person there, which is good. They're going to need all the help they can have with this team coming at them in the way that they are. Another raid tower here is forming. And again, the defenders doing a great job of shooting that out. So the defenders, the homeowners, just changed that wall that was damaged to twig. Hopefully they'll upgrade that. They continue to shoot out towards the raiders. And here, guys, we can see an overview of some of the action on the ground. You can see the raiders are fanning out on the ground level. They're surrounding the base at all points. The homeowners continue to do their best as the bodies pile up inside. They continue to do their best to still shoot out at the raiders and try to hold them at bay. The raiders have the front door covered, while inside the front area, 2 of the team members who have woken up are considering their next move. They're thinking about what they should do. They're probably wondering if they should open that door. but they're probably also wondering if there's someone on the outside, and there sure is. The team has all points covered. The raid tower is forming, the land bridge is being built, and it's not going to quite make it to the base, but I don't think that that's their intention for this particular raid tower. If you'll notice, what they're trying to do here and what they're succeeding at doing is jumping onto the top of that wall. So it's a very very small spot to jump onto, takes some degree of precision, and they want to get to that wall to make entry into it. So they're either going to use pickaxes or some type of an explosive device to try to get through that wall. And that raid tower has been taken down, but another one here is forming, but it looks less like a raid tower and more like some type of an embattlement. It looks like a structure that's being built so that that member can provide overwatch to his team. And C4 has just gone off. They have made entry into the base, into what looks like some type of a loot room, a furnace and loot room. They are now inside the inner part of the base. They're covering their corners, and they are, looks like, taking out some of the defenders. Back at the front door, one of the defenders tried to come out. He left the front door open. Back in the base, there's more gunfire going off. The raiders are making their way into the base. Homeowners coming down the stairwell. There's some gunfire. The raider has died. +1 for the homeowner. Nice work. And awesome. He saves the day. He closes the door so they can't get into the base any farther. The door has been opened back up, and the homeowner and the raider are engaged, and the homeowners win against that raider once again. Nice move. Nice defend on the part of the homeowners, the defenders. Good job, guys. And they poked their head out for just one moment, and the raiding team had that point of entry covered. Still do. They're raining fire in there, and they are picking off the defenders as they try to loot their bodies. And outside, guys, we have some action. One of the homeowners made their way out here, and the raider who was guarding the area was able to actually take him out. No, scratch that. There's actually two of the homeowners. They took the raider out. My bad. So the two homeowners have grouped up together out here. There's some action in the courtyard. They are shredding through the raiders. I don't think they expected anyone to come out. And they made their way out, and they're now out here. Looks like taking out a fair amount of the raiders. We can see bodies piling up. At least 4 raiders were down from my count there. So awesome job on the behalf of the homeowners at this point. And one of the homeowners has stopped here to loot a body. Guys, this is always a dangerous situation. And both those homeowners were looking down, and one of the raiders came in and got the drop on them. So all the progress they made was just lost. You always want to be aware of your surroundings this game, guys. Sometimes it's not important to loot a body when something like this is going on. Or if you're going to loot it, look real quick and grab just the utmost important item like C4 or a rocket launcher, or whatever it may be. So outside we can see the raiders are continuing to take up positions. They're probably a little pissed now that things didn't work out for them. The hole that they blew in the base up top has been fixed. So they're now trying to make entry from the ground level. They're back to using rudimentary pickaxes while the defenders inside are gearing back up and scrambling for another round with the raiders. We can see that the raiders are still working hard down on the ground while the defenders up top are taking up positions, wondering what their next best move is. And one of the defenders up top just threw some C4 down in an attempt to blow up the raiders. Awesome move. He took out his front steps. Didn't do too much damage to the raiders, but it was a great attempt on his part. I probably would have done the same too. Gunfire is coming from all angles here. We can see one of the defenders is on some type of a ledge or perch on the base here, and he's attempting to shoot down at the raiders to hold them at bay. One of the homeowners is dead on the top of the roof there. The raiders continue to be present on the ground level. It looks like 2 raiders may have died from either gunfire or that C4 blast. I can see the bodies on the ground, but it hasn't impeded the raiders in any way, shape, or form. The homeowner is still on his perch there, but he was just taken out by some gunfire, and that was a noble effort on his behalf to sort of have a better vantage point on the raiders. And we have one of the raid team members up here in his embattlement that he built. He is gearing up. He is sniping from that location and holding those raiders at bay. Those defenders at bay, rather. They've broken through the stone wall, but they are now into an inner part, an airlock actually, that is made out of the armored tier. So that's going to require quite a lot of pickaxing, or most likely C4 if they haven't any left. You can see in the base that hole that they C4'd in through has been patched up. So they're building up another raid tower. The intention here, I think, is to do the same thing as before, vault over on top of that wall and try to make their way in, probably in the same point of entry, which has now been turned to the sheet metal tier. And looks like they successfully made the jump. Oh, that guy did fall off, and that one missed it as well. It's really hard to make those jumps, guys. It's requires a lot of precision and just a little bit of luck too. It's a very small foot placement on top of that wall, so for someone to land on it in the game requires a bit of effort. They are going to give it another go, though. They're going back up onto the raid tower and the land bridge, and they're making another jump, another effort. And beautiful. Looks like they landed at that time. We have 3 raid team members jumping onto the base. 2 have made it on so far. And last but not least, it looks as though the 3rd one has also made it onto that particular lip of the wall. So they're here now, and they're going to try to get into the base, I presume, to that same point of entry. Fire is still being exchanged between the raid member in the tower, which has just been taken out by C4. Awesome move. Looks as though the homeowners snuck out under the cover of night and placed C4 on that raid tower that had been turned to wood, and they blew it apart. That member has died from the fall and from subsequent gunshots as well. Beautiful work on the part of the defenders. Always surprise them. Just because it's a team of big raiders doesn't mean you can't surprise them once in a while. The wall has just been blown open by C4. Rockets are now incoming. These raiders are not taking any more chances. They don't want what happened last time to happen again. So they're raining rockets at the base while they've blown a hole into the base, and they're now making their way into that loot room again, and they're going to try to get a little bit farther into the base. I think the rockets are coming into the base in an effort to sort of soften it up. These guys definitely took advantage of the rocket launcher during this raid, and it's nice to see it in action in a true situation where it hasn't been something that's been shown just on a development server with creative mode. So we see the rockets incoming. They've fired probably about 8 to 10 rockets total since the raid started. That rocket just took out one of the top walls. We can see that there's bodies on the inside. Those are either from the collateral damage from the rockets or from previous gunfire. And that rocket went straight into the base. More gunfire on the inside of the base. We can see the muzzle flashes light up the darkness. The raiders are pushing through into the base, taking out any of the defenders. The doors are open, so they were able to take out the defenders before they were able to close the doors. So at this point, guys, this tower has pretty much been taken by the raiders. There are a few sleeping bags left, so the defenders are respawning. They are trying to make that valiant last-ditch effort to save whatever they have left. One of the defenders just threw out a bunch of C4 in an attempt to, I think, both burn through the C4 so the raiders can't get to it, and then also hopefully kill some of the raiders. A good tactic on their behalf, and it would have been nice if they were able to take out some of that raid team just as an effort to sort of push it back a few notches. More muzzle flashes are going off in here, guys. We can see the bodies that are littering the base. Those are mostly from the defenders, the homeowners, and one last valiant last-ditch effort by Otis, the last remaining homeowner who hasn't logged off and called it quits. He's now gone. They've destroyed his sleeping bag. They're continuing to pick up any stragglers that they find, but the tower, guys, has been taken by the raid team. Not surprising, they came in full force with rockets, with C4, with a team of people. So, but it was a good fight nonetheless. We saw a lot of good things. We learned about some team tactics, and I think it was definitely worthwhile. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I enjoy making it. This footage is from the Rustopia US server, so please join the fight and hop on US Rustopia. This is Fado82. Peace.